Welcome to This Week in Indian Hill Braves Athletics here on IndianHillBraves.org and ESPN Media, powered by Sidearm Sports. My name is Jason Griefer. As always, we're joined by Indian Hill Athletic Director Brian Phelps. Today, we have a very special guest joining us here as well, and that is boys lacrosse head coach Jamie Foley. Coach, we appreciate some of your time here today. We're going to cover your team in depth here in just a few moments, but want to hit some of the other highlights around Indian Hill Braves Athletics right now with Brian Phelps. And Brian, let's start things off with competitive cheer because we wrapped up last week's show about talking about the team heading down to Orlando for a national competition. They were all about trying to get these ugly white jackets. I think you even used that hashtag on social media to try and hype them up during that weekend down in Orlando. They wind up finishing second. We're in the lead after day one, but come home finishing in second place there. So, the ugly white jackets, not necessarily in the cards right there. We'll see if they come up with something of their own there. But nevertheless, finishing second down there, I have to imagine that was a pretty good experience overall for the team.
I think it was such a neat experience. One, just being down at Disney and kind of that environment and the ESPN Wide World of Sports is such a neat venue. And, after day one, semifinals, 2 full points was a pretty good lead. But the team that became victorious, they were really good. And I think that we performed really well. The scores that we received were some of the best scores we've ever received. So I think it was just a matter of we did about as well as we could do, and they were just a really good team. So I know shortly after that, just chatting with our coach, kind of, okay, how to move forward and revamp the program to kind of be able to score a little higher. But although they didn't bring home the white jackets, it was a great experience. I think one of those experiences that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. And we'll be really excited about how to kind of tune it up and be able to score a little higher next time.
Still a really good result, though, to finish second place at a huge competition like that down in Orlando for sure. And as you said, really good experience all the way around for the team here. Let's move back on to the field here, and let's first start talking about your baseball team here. Really good season to this point right now, sitting at 6-2 in the league right now. You're sitting there tied with Taylor for second place, actually earned a split with them over the last few days here. And we've talked here on the show in the past about how the run Taylor's been on the last few years in the league, won it the last 3 years outright, shared it 4 years ago. So they've been the dominant team in the league really the last several years, and you're in a split with them there. So as it stands right now, you're sitting 2 games behind Wyoming, who has been really good thus far. They're 8-0 in the league. And you're going to see Wyoming early next week. You've got to get past Finneytown twice here coming up. Finneytown has really struggled on the year. They've yet to win a game in the league here. So you've got the Wyoming series lurking ahead. If you win both, you're right there for the league title to at least grab a share of it. If not, potentially, if some other things go right, win it outright down the road right there. But focusing on the Finneytown series first, and a team that's struggling, how are the coaches going about making sure the kids are focused on taking care of business against a struggling Finneytown team and not looking ahead to the big series with Wyoming that could eventually decide whether or not they win a league title?
Yeah, baseball is one of those sports where it's all about who's on the mound that day and if they can find the strike zone and some timely hitting and all that kind of stuff. So there's no way right now that that we're looking past Finneytown. That just the CHL is too good. Even the bottom half of the league can sneak up and get you if you're not ready to go. But clearly, taking care of those 2 games will be key for us. We had two great games with Taylor, beating them 6-1 at our place, and them beating us 5-2 at their place. And what's fun about it is, as you mentioned, we have Wyoming coming up, and Madeira is going to be tough games as well. But Wyoming has us and Taylor still on the schedule, so it really is. Both Indian Hill and Taylor have the chance to beat Wyoming, and it's all in front of us. And yes, we need a little bit of luck, but we control a lot of our own destiny as well to at least share a title. But it's a lot of fun. It's what we thought the league would be, really competitive, 3 or 4 teams right in the mix to be able to win the league. And as we sit right now, that's exactly where things stand.
And looking at the history-wise, it's been since 2007 since Indian Hill grabbed a share of the league title. An outright championship hasn't happened since 1996. So a lot of things in front of them, a lot of history still to be made, but big series against Finneytown, of course, and then you can focus on Wyoming, and we'll be talking about that more in depth on next week's show. Let's switch gears and let's talk about your tennis team. And we've bragged on them all season long, rightfully so, but now they're on the precipice of claiming another league championship. All you got to do is beat Wyoming. Not that it's a given. Wyoming's been pretty good on the season, but you win there. It's your 6th league title in a row and 10th in the last 11 years here. Also going to celebrate Senior Day on a Wednesday against Covington Catholic, a very good team coming up from Kentucky there. I'm wondering, going into this week with Wyoming and CovCath coming up here, how happy were you to see them beat a very good Seven Hills team 4-1? And as we celebrate the seniors, what can you tell us in your experience with them, how they've been able to carry on this tradition of excellence that has been Indian Hill tennis?
Yeah, no. So I had the chance to go over to Seven Hills, my old stomping grounds, yesterday and watch at least the first hour of the match, and really competitive. They're actually built a lot like we are. They have a lot of young kids. They're really strong. Tim Drew over there does a great job. I know our coach, Wade Ward, and Tim are buddies. So it was good, friendly competition. And we played good tennis. We lost at third singles. Going into it, we thought it might be a 4-1 type of match, and it was. And I think your teams are always the most successful when your upperclassmen, your seniors, kind of lead the way, and that's what's going on with our team right now. There's only 2 seniors, 2 juniors, and 4 freshmen, as we've talked about. But
yeah,
those younger kids kind of have to have that senior type of leadership to get through tough matches like a Seven Hills or an Oakwood, who we beat on Saturday 4-1. And, we're relying on them. And as you mentioned, we'll get a chance to celebrate them for everything they've done for Indian Hill and Indian Hill tennis tomorrow before the CovCath match, which will be really tough. And we're looking forward to our second round of the team tournament, which will be Country Day. And assuming we can get past Country Day, we're going to see Seven Hills most likely again to move on to the state tournament.
We'll be keeping a track on that for sure. Let's switch gears. Let's move on to lacrosse here. And before we bring in Coach Foley to talk about the boys, I want to give a shout out to a special group of girls lacrosse players. That's your 7th and 8th graders coming in over the weekend and winning the Comet Cup there. Coach Foley, nice little round of applause there for them there. That's pretty cool to see the youngsters not only getting involved in the game of lacrosse, but seeing them being able to compete and seeing them be able to win.
Yeah, we have 3 seniors on our girls lacrosse team, and they're all very, good players for us, but the future is really bright. We have good young kids right now that are getting a lot of varsity minutes, and we're really excited about that 8th grade class. It's schools like ours that aren't super big, we're kind of in the middle of the pack enrollment wise. You really identify those classes, and you just can't wait for those classes to come through and know they're just going to give you that little bit of extra. And our 8th grade girls, especially, our boys are really good too, but our 8th grade girls is one of those classes that not only girls lacrosse is really going to make a big impact to our entire Indian Hill athletic program, but I know our girls coaches can't wait to get those 8th graders up next year and go on a run with them. Congratulations to them. A great run, some great kids on that team, and we're excited for the future.
As you should be. Let's bring in boys lacrosse coach Jamie Foley. Coach, first of all, we appreciate your time joining us here on the show here today. Your reaction when you saw the girls 7th and 8th graders go out and win the Comet Cup, I have to imagine that gives your high school team pretty big shot in the arm, no?
Yeah, it was kind of cool. So my 9-year-old daughter, I live in Liberty Township. My 9-year-old daughter plays lacrosse for Lakota. So I was actually there and watched their championship game, the 7th and 8th grade girls championship game for Indian Hill. And it was fun to watch them and see what Coach Parlin has coming up. And Indian Hill girls is going to be really good here for the next few years. So
let's talk about your team now. Coming in right now, 7-2 on the year. Split the games over the weekend here. A tough loss to Bishop Watterson, who I know Brian and I have talked about. Very good program. Lose that one 9-8, but then bounce back on Monday with a big win over Elder. Always good when you can beat a GCL school. For sure. What was your reaction to the way the team bounced back after you had been on such a run, a long winning streak? It gets snapped in a close one to Bishop Watterson, but they come right back and just take apart Elder.
Well, I think it was one of those things, we traveled to 2 hours to Columbus on Friday night. I think it took us a couple quarters to get off the bus and really start playing our game. And our guys recognized that after watching film by themselves. And then we watched that film actually before the Elder game. So they came into the Elder game last night really ready to roll and get back on track and playing the type of lacrosse that we want to play. It was also definitely a big boost to see, you know, I don't know how many youth kids in the stands as well. And, you know, they took that to heart to kind of represent, you know, what our program is.
And really cool. Also, you mentioned that point there. Saw a couple of videos, a couple of pictures on social media celebrating the K-6 youth programs, getting out there, getting a chance to create a tunnel for the boys to run through onto the field there as well. I have to imagine that was pretty cool, not only for your team, but especially the younger kids to be able to get that experience and also get them excited about, you know, picking up the game at some point down the road. Maybe you've got future Braves lacrosse players there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the big things when I took the job at Indian Hill is we want to keep, you know, our Indian Hill kids at Indian Hill. And it starts down there in that kindergarten through 6th grade and building excitement about the high school program with those guys and getting them out there on Friday nights and Monday nights and seeing, you know, what it's all about under the lights and just something for them to look forward to playing at Tomahawk Stadium. So, yeah, it was a great experience. You know, I know our guys really enjoyed it. And it was great to see all the parents and kids out there last night for sure.
Brian, how important is that for the administration at Indian Hill High School to reach down into the youth programs, K-6 programs, and what have you? There, with obviously we talked about 7th and 8th grade, to get them involved and get the kids excited about Indian Hill, you know, early on. And so, like Coach said, you know, the kids at Indian Hill, you actually can keep and eventually get into Indian Hill High School.
Well, I've always been part of an athletic program that is truly that kindergarten or 1st grade through 12th athletic program. And, you know, kind of coming in, I felt a little bit of a division. We have a really good Indian Hill rec program, but our sports, and not even all of our sports, start in 7th grade for Indian Hill schools. And, you know, obviously 9th grade, we kind of have everything we offer, but even in the middle school, we don't offer everything. So the more that we can feel like we are one athletic program, kindergarten through 12. As Coach Foley said, you know, our intention is this is how much fun being a Brave can be and will be at the high school level. So getting our little Braves, you know, thinking about being a Brave for life and wanting to be here is key, you know, for school, but especially an athletic program. So it is our goal to really make it feel like we are one program and not divided between Indian Hill Rec and what we do middle school and club sports and then high school, of course. So yeah, our goal is to get there. We're a one program type of thing, and coaches like Coach Foley really become the program directors, not just the varsity head coach, but it's important for them to reach down and be at a middle school game or a youth event or show up at a youth practice. And, you know, they need to see that. They need to feel that love. And I know our coaches are excited about, you know, becoming, taking a bigger role that way for sure.
Coach, how has that been for you to go to the middle school events, down to the youth programs? Is that important to you as well, to not only help with the development of the program, but just also overall just lend support to the younger kids to say, hey, you know, I'm the high school coach, but I'm here to watch you win. I want to help you develop as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've talked with the junior high coaches the last couple of years, and you know, like Mr. Phelps said, you know, the rec director, his name's Matt Harris. He does a great job. You know, and it's important for, especially when they get to junior high, for these guys to start to learn what we do at high school as far as lingo, drills, even sometimes, you know, offensive sets. But it also is important for us to make sure as high school coaches that the kids from kindergarten are developing from kindergarten to 5th grade to 8th grade. And that's important for us to be a part of, for sure. You know, we've had coaches go down and do examples of some of our drills and what we're doing, you know, because a lot of times, well, most of the times at those rec divisions, you know, it's parents volunteering, and that's great. And we need those people. So it's good for our coaches to go down and, you know, give them a little bit of knowledge. And at the same time, you know, they get to see those high school players or those high school coaches' faces and make it, you know, a big family or a big program. So.
and doing a great job of that, as you said, building that one cohesive community
Right.
there can only help you down the road here. Let's focus back on your team once again. And Brian and I have talked about one particular young man in several episodes of the podcast this season, and I want to get your thoughts on it since we have you here on the show today. And that is, of course, Charlie DeGennaro. And looking at the way he has gone through the season, he leads the league in goals by a mile. He's well ahead in assists as well, and just really seems to be the kind of guy that sets the tone for everything that you want to do, both offensively and defensively. He has a big future ahead of him going off to the college level next season. But as he's winding down his career now as a senior in Indian Hill High School, kind of take us through his development over the last few years. Obviously, there was no season a year ago, but how you've seen Charlie mature over his time and your time coaching him, and how that's impacted your entire program.
Yeah, so me and Charlie had a conversation early last season before we got shut down for COVID. And, we just talked about, like, what are your goals? What do you want to do? And he said, my dream's to be a Division I college lacrosse player. And we set out a plan on what that looks like and what kind of work that takes. Unfortunately, we got shut down, but he had a really good summer season, which was a big part of it. And he really just stuck to that plan, and it's paid off for him. Obviously not just, the Division I scholarship, but it's paying off for him now in the spring season where he's absolutely dominated every game he's played in. I think a big part, people see Charlie, big 6'2", 6'3" guy, super athletic. But what people don't see is just the different level of focus that he carries with him in his workouts, at practice, watching film. He's basically almost like our sixth coach sometimes. And the biggest thing that he does is he makes guys around him so much better. I mean, he's leading our league in goals, but he's also, I think top 3 in assists. I think he's top 6 in ground balls. And, at the Bishop Watterson game, perfect example, we were struggling at the faceoff X, and we said, Charlie, we need you to come do faceoffs. And it changed the game. It got us back into it. And that's just what he brings to a game. That just makes us that much better. He does everything we ask. I mean, no questions asked. And he's just an absolute beast. I mean, the kid, just all around student, great young man, player. He's that player that, as a coach, you never forget for sure.
Has there been maybe a thing or two you've been able to learn from him that you could take forward into the future years after Charlie moves on?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's that level of work. I've coached high school sports for a long time, and I've never met anyone that works on his game, all around game, as much as Charlie does. And I think that's the biggest thing is that, moving forward, we have some really good guys. We have some really good juniors, Will Adair and Robbie Gutman and Cooper Weiler, that all have, dreams to go on and play at the next level. And it's Charlie's taught me that, look, okay, this is what it looks like. This is that mold and that plan you have to follow if that's where you want to go. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing Charlie's taught me is just, if you really want it and really stick to it, then, I mean, it just takes the work. It takes the work, and he's done all that. So.
Lastly, here on the show here today, we have looking forward ahead to the schedule. We have a pretty big one coming up on Friday in a rivalry game against Marymount. They're obviously a very good program as well, along with yourself there. And it's always a fun rivalry, maybe one of the better ones in the CHL. And this rivalry in boys lacrosse. Brian, let me start with you here. What have you seen, and what are you expecting from this game from your team here? As you said, a pretty big rivalry game.
Well, bottom line is we respect those guys. They run a great program. They're always very competitive. We know we're going to get their best shot. It'll be one of those games that will be a packed house type of thing. And both communities, our kids hang out on the weekends and our parents hang out on the weekends. But, Friday night, I will probably feel very divided. and that's what makes it, fun. That's high school sports. That's the Friday night lights in the spring season at least. And, I don't think we want to make the game bigger than it is, although it's a big game. It's a game that we need to go play well and win. And that's one piece of kind of the goal for the year. I think you'll hear from Coach Foley, but it'll be fun. We expect it'll be a close, tough played game. And like I said, we respect our friends down in Marymount and look forward to a great game.
Coach, looking at this way this sets up, Marymount will have had 9 days off since their last match coming in to this one here. Do you anticipate them with that coming off to a fast start? And beyond that, what do you maybe think a couple of keys are to the game for your team to get a win here?
You know, it's one of those games where I think both teams come in super prepared, really focused. Every game I've been to a Marymount Indian Hill game, both teams come out ready to roll, firing all cylinders. I think some keys will be, you know, they have a really good player in Max Tepe. Can we neutralize him on defense? You know, defensively, you know, we can talk about, you know, goals and Charlie, but defensively, I feel like we have probably one of the top defensive teams in the state Division II. They're coached really well. They work really well together. So can we neutralize Max Tepe? Another part would be at the face-off. You know, they have a really good face-off guy in Seth Green. You know, it's those battles. Can we keep them out of transition? You know, can we stay disciplined enough in our offense, you know, to pick our spots and take what they give us and put goals in? But I think those would probably be the biggest keys, you know, staying out of the penalty box, winning ground balls, you know, the normal stuff. And, you know, I think it'd be one of those things where whoever has the ball at the end is probably going to win the game. So, well, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I mean, our guys are fired up. It's obviously a game that both teams look forward to. It's kind of one of those things where we try and pull the reins back a little bit too, because we tell our guys we're playing for the end of May, beginning of June. So it's another game, but we all know it's a little more than just another game. So it's been a while since we beat those guys. So, you know, we're really looking forward to this year, the challenge of doing that.
So fans, support the team in any way you can, because they'll certainly welcome it in that one this coming Friday here. A lot of fun discussing all that here today. Coach, we certainly appreciate your time here today. Good luck to you, not only in that matchup, but in the rest of the season there. We'll be keeping track of that. Brian, our thanks to you once again. We'll look forward to it again a week from now.
Sounds good. And we're really excited to celebrate 5 more kids tomorrow at another athletic signing. One of those being our goalie, Robert Brunner, who's going on to Ohio Northern. And that totals 16 kids for us for this year. We're really proud of every single one of them. And, you know, it'll be a great day tomorrow.
We'll be looking forward. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So we can't forget about the goalie, because he carries the biggest stick out there, and don't want to offend him for sure. But nevertheless, congratulations to him and to all our seniors here. And once again, our thanks to Coach Jamie Foley and athletic director Brian Phelps joining us for this week in Indian Hill Braves athletics here on IndianHillBraves.org and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.